Now, looking at the media overall, and there's lots of articles out there talking about price issues. On this slide, there's essentially a handful of examples of different articles that I've pulled that are related to, right off Google, that are related to drug pricing, such as article from Reuters from January 2018 around drug makers raised 2018 U.S. prices and they stick to self-imposed limits, or from Biosimilars of January 2018 around drug makers raised prices on more than 30 products for 2018. An article from MarketWatch on June 18 regarding why did these generic drugs jump as much as 85%. Anatomy of a 97,000% drug price hike, which is an article on Acthar that was published by CNN in June of 2018. And then prices for many generic drugs rising faster than inflation, which was published back in 2015, but is still relevant today, as we can see, related to some of the FDA actions around increasing generic availability and reducing time to market. Of interest here, specifically, I'd like to point out is two articles around drug makers raised 2018 U.S. prices and self-imposed limits, and the drug makers raised prices on more than 30 products. These two specific articles tie back to something that occurred back in 2016, where several manufacturers essentially signed something called the social contract with patients. And this contract includes many components, includes things around investment and drug development, et cetera. But there are two specific components in there around drug pricing. And those specific pieces are around prices would not be increased more than one time per year, and that any price increase would be in single digits, so less than 10% increase on a yearly basis. And what we'll see is that in a little while, looking at our data, is that manufacturers seem to be sticking to that, and that price increases are occurring less frequently, and when they're occurring at single level digits. There's also was a publication back in December 2017 from the U.S. Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, which was an evaluation of Medicare Part D. Although we're talking Medicare Part D here, which is essentially equivalent to pharmacy benefit, the conclusions are easily translatable to what we see under the medical benefit, and that's why I felt it was important to include it in here. So this analysis looked at the top 20 prescribed drugs under Medicare Part D, and they were listed here. The results basically talked about, okay, what is the trend for those drugs between 2012 and 2017? And what they found is that the average yearly increase was 12% for the top 20 drugs. In general, they increased in rate at 10 times the rate of the inflation, and that 12 out of the 20 drugs had greater than a 50% price increase over that time period. So the price increases, as you can see on the left-hand side, they're increasing, but then around 2015, 2016, 17, the difference there starts to decrease. And although under the pharmacy benefit, this difference appears to be significantly different, although decreasing, as you can see here, what you'll see is under the medical benefit, a similar decrease is occurring, but not at the same rate as what we're seeing under the pharmacy benefit. For some reason, the pharmacy benefit, and again, we'll show this to you later, these inflationary rates seem to be going at a much higher rate, and that may have to do with the specific benefit and how contracting is done under the pharmacy benefit.